Shabbat Shalom, which means peace on Yahweh's holy Shabbat. My name is Isaac ben Israel, and I am the priest of the United Congregation of Israel. We thank you for keeping the Shabbat with us, for it is a commandment that Yahweh has given us. We have a tendency, as time has gone on and dealing with things, the way that the nations have dealt with things, we have a tendency to deal with things according to popular belief and not according to what is written in this book. And because we have not researched it for ourselves, we just kind of just go with what's popular. But as we see, there are a lot of things that are happening in the news, and we're going to get into those things. But before we get into today's sermon, we're going to read the oracles of the church and invite the angel that stands at the door that he may come in and sup with us and us with him. The oracles of the church, 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves. For love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received a gift, even so, minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through 32. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers, and grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice, and be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for the Mashiach's sake have forgiven you. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach has also loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become of saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Revelation chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. And indeed, let him that has an ear hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. And the title of today's sermon is entitled, The Voice of Heaven. The Voice of Heaven. Now, we're living in a very pivotal period in biblical prophecy. It is difficult for us to imagine, but our present is actually biblical prophecy written from times past. Some of these events were spoken about so long ago that it made no sense, as the technology to complete these tasks were not invented yet. This is what proves the Bible. The Holy Bible is a history and a prophecy book. We can look in secular history books and verify the kingdoms that were written about, and some will get to see with their very eyes the destruction of great kingdoms spoken of before our generation. Now, when, of course, that voice comes out of heaven, we know that the thunder rolls and the earth quakes. But the arrogance of man causes us to witness devastating events and be unmoved as long as it doesn't affect our house. As it has been said about the recent economic downturn, it is a recession when it affects the neighbors, but it is a depression when it affects you. So when dealing with this thing, all you have to do is hold what you got. The works of Yahweh will definitely be coming to a state, to a town, to a city, and to a house, and to a heart near you. Just keep on living, and you'll find out. We're gonna start off in Genesis chapter 6 and verses 5 through 8, so we can set the foundation for today's sermon, which is the voice of heaven. Now, we know that the wickedness of man was great, so Yahweh did some things. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. Now, verse 5 says, "And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh." Now, you'll hear people saying that they act as if grace is a new thing. Noah found grace. This is in the book of Genesis. So when people say that Paul brought grace or Yahshua brought grace, grace has been here for quite some time. He found that grace because of him walking in righteousness. And look at that, the animals ended up getting destroyed. What did they do? It says the thoughts of man was so evil, Yahweh destroying animals too. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, verses 37 through 39. Now, a lot of times when we see these things, we're able to look the other way because this is how evil goes on. This is how evil continually just keeps going on and on, is that we look past those things and we say, it didn't affect me, it didn't come to my house, so we're going to turn a blind eye to these things. And it allows wickedness to grow to a point where all of a sudden we cannot contain it. Just as the situation, when they first start talking about HIV and AIDS, it was some, they listed it as some like a gay disease. Then all of a sudden, when everybody started getting it, when, the people on the other side of the town started getting it, then it became an epidemic, and then it got out of control. And this is just how people normally deal with things. Until it affects them in their house, it means nothing. So this is what Yahweh is about to do. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 37. "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." So looking at these two things, we're looking at everybody's fine. You see, people can look at, all of this stuff that's being shown on the news about these earthquakes and these tsunamis, and they say, well, as long as it's over there. Well, this is the first one where now the waves are starting to reach the West Coast. So now people's antennas are actually starting to go up. They're just starting to pay attention. But Yahweh has already set forth what he's going to do. This is a book about history and prophecy. But because the teachers of various religious groups have decided that we should not read all of these things that are in the Old Testament and things of that nature, people don't know what's actually coming toward them. Let's go to Revelation chapter 16. Revelation chapter 16. Now that we've set the foundation of how these things are made go down, and how people have a tendency to just to not, same thing happened in the beginning of the book. As long as it did not affect their house, man, they just watched Noah build this humongous thing, and he looked like an idiot. Because he's building this big boat. It ain't rain. And this dude is like, man, what is this he even building? This don't even make no sense. This dude don't make no sense. Okay? Well, that's the same way they're going to look at you. You don't make no sense. Why are you dealing with this stuff? This stuff is for a long time to come. Right. And just like it said then, they're going to be marrying, giving their sons into marrying, having parties, doing their own thing. And when everything goes down, it's too late to decide you want to try to figure out what righteousness is the day that everything goes down. That's not how that's going to work. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 1. Now, normally when you read those vials, you read a seal and then a vial, but we're just going to deal with these vials of wrath because it explains a few things here. Revelation 16 verse 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And you know, if they offer us a mark and tell us that we cannot buy or sell, we're going to be fighting each other to try to get that mark. Because people are not going to want to walk away from what they have. This is why Yahweh has to get us up out of here. Verse 3. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood, as the blood of a dead man. And every living soul died in the sea. We got a short glimpse of that when they had that little oil spill in the Gulf. Everybody went crazy down in the Gulf because they wasn't able to eat their abominations. Those very things that they ain't supposed to be eating anyway, they get mad because they can't eat the scrimps. They want to eat their scrimp, boy, so bad, they ain't supposed to be eating them anyway. But they upset that the oil made their unclean food unclean. Check that out. Remember the plagues of Egypt. Remember these plagues. This is how Yahweh has a tendency to get man's attention. Man don't like to listen, man. As long as man got a Cadillac with some rims on it, he is not trying to pay attention to anything. He can be about to get kicked out. He can have any, as long as he got his Cadillac and he got some shiny wheels on it, he does not care. This is how Yahweh gets man's attention. This is what gets man, because this will happen to the rich and the poor. So you can't buy your way out of this. See, when a whole bunch of fish just all of a sudden float up and everything just, start to stink, when the sun gets 7 times hotter, you can't buy your way away from the sun. The money won't help you. This is, what will cause man to pay attention. Verse 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the water say, you are righteous, O Yahweh, which are and was and shall be, because you have judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. You see how Yahweh has a tendency to punish people in a like manner of the things that they have done? Right. Verse 7. And I heard another, but it's been a long time. See, when time passes, man feel like he's gotten away with it. Verse 7. And I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Yahweh Elohim Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. So this sun is going to be so hot that it is going to scorch men. But that is also rightfully so, just like the blood thing. The Gentiles was supposed to be grafted in our tree. They knocked our tree down, set up the Sabbath instead of being the 7th day, Saturday. They set it up on Sunday, which is the sun's day. Understand what Sunday is named after, the sun's day. So he said, okay, you want to worship the sun? Here you go. Here you go. Let me push it closer in your face. Right. That's how Yahweh has a tendency to punish you. When they asked for that meat, when Yahweh was giving them that manna, that bread from heaven, what did he do? He took that meat